Wow, what an amazing woo, man. I'm bummed that I wasn't there for that race. And guys, if you freaking missed it this week, I said, hey, look at these corners, and also look, this is the best track of 2025. I talked about the rhythms that made the best passing action of the entire season. I would say that this is the best race we have seen, and we've got plenty of guys that are injured, both 250s and 450s. But man, oh man, I don't know what was more exciting. Deegan getting slammed by Shimoto and then taking it back to Juju, to Cole Davies winning, to Webb winning, to freaking Ken Roxon out effing front with I'm believing it's like a grade 2 separated shoulder, which still is amazing that he's even out there. It's just not completely freaking torn, right? But dang, that was freaking spectacular racing. But here, probably the funniest thing here was the orange jumpsuit that Deegan was wearing, just totally freaking embracing, like, hey guys, I'm a bad boy, I'm here to race. His nickname is literally Danger Boy, so you got to give the guy credit for just owning everything, from changing his Instagram to his headshot from going to getting arrested. But where's the stuff that I have here? Okay. This is okay. Give it up to Cole Davies, dude. The kid is a monster, and I talked about it even at the last few races. Was it Arlington or was it Glendale? I believe it was Glendale, that he was the only guy blitzing the freaking whoops, and I'm talking about the whoops that Jordan Smith ended up going down hard on. And truthfully, I kind of think Jordan Smith came back to racing a little bit too soon, and we saw it. Not to mention, freaking, they lapped up to 5th place. Like, I'm all for privateers, but the amount, like, Cody Schock went down just because of her privateer. You got Ricky Carmichael saying that he got cross-rutted. No, he was trying not to land on a lapper, right? And so he just laid it on a tough block instead and ruined his chances of being on the podium. I'm sure Mike at Club MX is upset about that, because you need to have those guys on the podium. Cody Schock has done it before. I want to see him up there winning races, but I'm freaking digressing. Look at this. Like, Juju, why didn't you just attack the dude at that point? Like, let's just full on UFC. Why isn't it going backwards? Boom. Like, it's a baby slap is what it is. And I want to see some aggression from Juju. This was, you got somebody that crashed lap 1 and basically went from, what was it, 10th or so back up to 3rd. It was like the same thing he did in his heat race, going down and then also coming back to 3rd in his heat race. And I've got more to say about that from outside looking in of what was the racing action of what was going on here. Hey, how come it didn't go? Not a full on, like, hey guys, we're not fighting, okay? We're not fighting, but I'm the guy in the yellow jumpsuit, and I'm just gonna slap you real quick. You know, that to me, it was great racing, and you can see that I am enthralled about the racing action, passing back to back. And I do have to say, yet again, right, I told you which sections we are going to see the most passing going on, and that was just an epic battle between these guys. But Cole Davies essentially owned the 250 class from start to finish, and Deegan is worried about him, because that's really what caused the crash in the first heat race. Was Deegan was trying to get back around his teammate and ends up phoning it in, and that is a bummer. And yeah, right before Juju grabbed Deeg's helmet. Yeah, get it. Okay, good for Juju grabbing his helmet, but like, let's see some different action here. Once people start retaliating like that. Okay. I appreciate you guys getting a little bit more context there. These guys are amazing riders. I truthfully like all of them, and I want to see some of the racing action. And I don't really know the family emergency that happened with Jason Anderson, so I sure prayers go out to him and his family. I know he's had he's got a couple new little babies, so hopefully everything is okay with him. But he missed a really good race, In the 250 class, Cole Davies won by 9 effing seconds. Okay, that is somebody that is sheer in control. Just start off by having the cojones to wheelie and also skim whoops that nobody else is willing to do. Just says magnitude about his riding ability. At only 17, Deegan's only 19. Juju, I believe, is like that 18, 19-ish too. So these guys are young guns for sure. And I agree, Brian, best race yet. This was absolutely one for the night show. And I was like, after the Triple Crown, it's going, okay, what are we going to see here? But I'm really hoping things are going to go good. We saw the forecast. They did an amazing job with making sure that the track was raceable. The track was soft. The ruts were scary. I wish I would have been there to walk the track with you guys to show how scary. It was literally ruts from corner to lips, which was gnarly. And you saw guys that weren't able to complete rhythm sections with made good racing action because they had these huge G outs and lips at the top of them to where they weren't able to continue to go with the rhythms. They had to find different lines through each of the sections, which made for some great race. And Robert, I completely disagree saying that was boring. Those guys were passing back and forth. You had Ken Roczen going to the lead, passing, holding up everybody. And you had Sexton coming from third to first in just a few corners, to Deegan coming through the entire pack, to Juju and Marchbanks battling back and forth. Davies pretty much had the lead from the get-go, but Juju passed him early. But then Cole was able to just kick his ass through the whoops, and then Marchbanks was going through the whoops, just and I give it up to Juju. These guys having the ability to make sure that they can see what other riders are doing, and then all of a sudden just bust it effing out is spectacular. So good for Juju for starting to blitz the whoops, because that's really what made him go from being a third place guy back to second. And unfortunately, he ended up having the tit for tat between him and Deegan. And truthfully, the beginning of the race, dude, I give it up to Shimoda for banging bars with Deegan multiple times. Like, dude, I'm not scared with you. My hand is healed. I'm ready to effing go down. And so Deegan was hot and bothered from lap 5 to the end. So Juju really had, hey, I've been racing with Marchbanks, which is the biggest guy in the field, and now you're coming up and then you're just going to try to take me out. And it was fairly clean. I did see a lot of cross jumping happening between these guys, which was, yeah, it is what it is, right? That's how they're going to prevent other riders from passing them through rhythm sections. But when you're cross jumping with as much ruts as they had, speaks volumes and danger for sure. And again, I do think that Jordan Smith came back too early on the Triumph, because he's a podium and race contender every single time he throws a leg over there. For him to be lapped is something, it's an anomaly. And them passing up to 5th place was scary in just my opinion. I the only way to fix this is to have like an F2 sort of a stock class or something for the privateers. Give them more money, right? And let the pros race and have good racing action. And you don't have things happen with what happened between Tristan Lane and Ken Roczen earlier this year. Roczen would be more of a championship contender. And moving to the 450s at this point, AP's on fire. And Sexton, dude, I don't know what to do with Sexton, because if he gets a good start, he's going to, lack of a better word, sometimes choke a bit. And we've seen it time and time again with pressure. What happened this time? He got pressured by Cooper Webb. Cooper Webb does his racecraft and ends up winning the freaking race. Good for him. I said it in my video yet again that you were going to see Cooper Webb win. I did say, Deegan. Honestly, I did say a blue bike was going to win. So I was right about both, because I didn't specifically say Deegan was going to win, even though I thought that blue bike was going to be Deegan for sure, right? And we're talking about MotoGP. Marc Marquez on a perfect season. There's a lot of racing action for MotoGP, but we will see. The sprint today, and tomorrow we'll see. The track's been very rainy over there, but I'm excited for MotoGP for sure. So I appreciate, Adam, the comment. And my money is on the Criminal Street Racer. Maybe he could afford to do fake ID with his 3rd place finish there, but back to the 450 action. Justin Cooper, fastest qualifier, passes his teammate in the heat race and ends up almost being in a position to win. I was bummed. And this is a guy that's notorious for jumping the whoops. We all know that. I hate the 9 whoop rule, but if the whoops are this torn up, sure. But it would be nice to have 2 whoop sections because guys were struggling. They were struggling all night through them. You even saw riders like Ken Roczen, they would triple in and then instantly land in a deep hole that would just stop them, that the foot pegs would just get caught and they weren't able to triple again. They were just then doubling through there. And Deegs versus Juju in the parking lot with the Weege V-blog, possibly, but there's more to be said there. And truthfully, we probably would have seen more banging action if Anderson was there for getting back with Sexton, for sure. I completely believe it, but I'm super impressed with Ken Roczen having the separated shoulder, coming out front and being a roadblock, actually being super fast, but then he went from first to fourth. You had Webb go from first to third, back to first. Like, how could you say that this wasn't a good race? This was spectacular. I loved the track. And you know what was cool about the track? There was no effing over-unders. There was no sand involved, okay? And how good of a racetrack was that? How good of a supercross track was that? That right there speaks it, right? And yeah, there was a little bit of rain. There was good moisture. Just water the track more. That's all you have to do is just make the track a little bit deeper. Let's get some more ruts like this so that these guys have to think about strategy. Okay, am I going to triple here? Or this rut got way too effing deep. I saw so many riders wheeling over ruts to find new lines. You saw guys going from the inside to the outside. That was an amazing race track for multiple guys. And you really saw the top tier athletes come out on top. AP, smooth as nails, always smooth as nails, ends up freaking third. Ken Roczen, you never see that guy really make mistakes. He's not the hardcore pusher that he used to be back in 2017 when he broke both of his arms, right? He's more methodical about stuff. And that Suzuki with the factory ECU and the factory transmission is working really well for him. Sexton, it's the same song and dance with Sexton. You know he's going to be the fastest SOB on the track, but is his head going to be mentally there, right? Is he going to have that, like, you are what you repeatedly do? And what he repeatedly do is he, lack of a better word, he fucks up when times are under pressure, when he's not just hauling ass. And the times that he does the best is when pressure is just taken away from him, when he crashes and he's 40th F in place at Hangtown last year. And he's just, I'm going to catch back up to Jet Lawrence and I'm going to win the freaking moto. That's his bread and butter. And you have Webb out there who's not the fastest guy. I mean, Ken Roczen, who's also not the fastest guy, blew by him. You had Justin Cooper, who was the fastest guy in qualifying, go by Webb. Then what ends up happening? Well, Webb shows up. He pony ups when the check is going to clear. He sees the guy writing it down. He's not envisioning the money that's coming into his bank account. He's like, I'm just going to go get it. And that's perfectly what he did. So I am 100% behind that Webb is winning the championship, but I do want to see more races like this. This was spectacular. The track was spectacular. The racing was spectacular. The fans looked like the stadium was somewhat, there wasn't as many people there, right? So that was unfortunate through there, but I want you guys to make sure that you subscribe and hit that notification icon. My views last week were down, and maybe it was because I was being a Debbie Downer that I didn't really like the track that much, or maybe it was a multiple of things because you guys didn't like the track that much because it wasn't that good of racing action. But there was great racing action this weekend, and I've got plenty to cover. So make sure you look at this. And I do want to cover some more of the MotoGP stuff as long as they don't demonetize me and block me for some reason. I know they denied me from being there in Texas this weekend, which I'm kind of like, whatever. Okay, I've done much building up to get the credentials that I needed just for this sport, for Supercross. So let's do it for MotoGP. Anyway, appreciate all you guys where Juju grabbed his helmet first. Yeah. So there was retaliation there, but still there was a slap from Deegan. And at that point, so what if you're the first guy? Like I tell my daughter, hey, legally, if somebody punches you twice, you're able to just kick their ass, right? So that's the rules that we're going with. It doesn't matter if they hit you twice, you could just knock them the F out. So anyway, till next time, guys, keep it WFO.